Hello, I have a Siemens RDJ10RF/RCR10/433 and a Vaillant ecotech plus 624 boiler. I have trouble getting the heating working. This has been an ongoing issue for a week. The megaflo immersion is providing hot water for the taps, but there is no demand to the boiler for it to fire and the radiators do not get hot water. The boiler display SS.30 code, no demand, although the RCR10/433 has a green light indicating a connection with the controller. I replaced the thermostat and receiver 2 days ago and it was working okay until constant was turned off. It has worked intermittently since. There are two 2-port valves on the system which operate correctly when they are asked electronically. What could be the issue? Currently hot water to taps but no heating. Thermostat is paired with the receiver but no demand to boiler. I have heard that the thermostat can be bypassed with the wiring. I will add a picture on the receiver which then goes off to the megaflo box.
It is possible to put a link in the receiver box to see whether it is the stat or the boiler.
A link? Could you please expand? Currently the heating is on, as I turned the electric off to the boiler for over an hour then turned it on again. This is a temp solution, and I would like to nail the problem that stops it working correctly.
It should be quite simple. Can you take the cover off the receiver and tell me what wiring you have and to what connections?
The pictures of the receiver and the megaflo unit are on the attachments I added earlier. I have attached again.
To link out the stat, take the cables from L1 and LX into the same connection and turn back on. It will be like the stat is out of the loop.
Do you mean put the black and green wire together into the L1 connection or the black and green wire into the LX connection? That will give me a temp fix. What do you suppose the issue is?
Both together in either, as long as they are joined. That links out the stat. The only permanent solution would be swap the unit, replace it with a wired version or use something that runs on Wi-Fi like a Nest.
Thank you. I have managed to bypass the thermostat. If I replace with a Nest system, it seems that the Nest controller needs to be where my existing receiver is next to the immersion tank in order to wire it in. There is no thermostat wiring in the house as it was wireless.
The Wi-Fi controller sits near the central heating wiring box. The last one did controls the heating and hot water and took about 2 hours to fit. It gives you control over an app, so anywhere.
That means in my case the Wi-Fi controller and presumably thermostat is in a hot area next to the immersion tank upstairs in the bathroom. The boiler is downstairs in the kitchen. Surely the thermostat ought to be in the main living room? Sorry if this is a dumb question.
As this shuts off all your heat, it should be in the coolest place. Once this had reached temperature, then everything shuts down.
Thanks, I understand the Nest system now. The bypass upstairs is not now working. I turned the heating off earlier as it was too warm. It will now not turn on and gives the S.30 code. I have not touched the wires. I'm so confused.
S30 is no demand again. Perhaps we link out in the boiler instead and see what happens. Do you have a timer also?
I think I need an engineer to visit to determine the real issue.
That's fine, or we can keep working backwards.
Okay, the boiler still displays S.30 with the stat linked out. Did you say we need to link out the boiler? I'm not too sure how to do that.
Follow the stat wires back and drop a small wire link into the two connectors instead of the wires.
The wires in the boiler? This means I need to take the front of the boiler off? I imagine then the boiler can still be turned off and on with the Honeywell programmer. See attached pics.
Okay. 1. Do the valves open? 2. It is the valves that fire the boiler. 3. The cylinder stat opens 1-4. The room stat opens the other. 5. The lever becomes slack when the valve is open.
The valves do open when it works and the boiler fires, both the levers become slack. The micro switches seem okay. I have not yet bypassed the boiler. Should I still do this? If I take out the fuse to the boiler and receiver for 5 minutes, and then reinsert, the boiler fires.
If you are wired as an S-plan, then either valve opening should make the boiler fire.
It's an S-plan and you are correct, either of the valves make the boiler fire. Currently it runs for 5/10 minutes when the fuse is out for 10 minutes. The boiler then stops and reverts to S.30. It's driving me crazy.
We need to check the valve is open when you get the S30 code.
The valve is not open when the S30 code appears.
Okay, boiler okay then. Perhaps we concentrate on the 2-port valve then. We need to check for power at the valve when it should be open but isn't.
Heating on currently. Both valves open.
Can you monitor until you get a S30 fault and see if the valve is shut? If it is, then we need to check power.
We'll monitor.
Okay. Come back to me when you have monitored for a few hours.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit JustAnswer.com/YTHI.